I'd just like to welcome Kristina. Thank you very much for presenting, Kristina. Meta eLearning. Kristina is the online education designer at Macquarie University. And I hope you enjoy her presentation.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us tonight or whatever time it is where you are. I'm actually, Macquarie University was now 2 jobs ago for me, so just to give you a bit of background, I started out as a music teacher, then got really keen on technology and discovered Moodle, and I progressed from being a music teacher to an online educational designer at Macquarie University right in the time where they were moving from using Blackboard or WebCT to using Moodle, which was a really exciting time and a really great opportunity for me to be at Macquarie Uni during that experience of doing the really big move, preparing all of the resources and delivering training and drop-in clinics. And so my obsession, if you would like to call it that, with Moodle developed from that. And last year I then moved on to working with Plane, which is an online professional development community developed through DER funding in New South Wales. But it's a national project to provide professional development for all of Australia's educators, both pre-service, in-service and teacher leaders. So as a learning designer for that project, I got a really great experience working with a lot of secondary and primary educators, and at uni it was obviously tertiary, so I've had a great experience with those two. And I'm now back into secondary education at a Catholic girls' school in the Western Sydney area as the leader of learning technologies and also the teacher librarian, amongst other roles as well. So this paper I actually wrote last year, and it came out of an invitation to present the keynote speech for the Philippines eLearning National Conference last December. And unfortunately I wasn't able to get to the Philippines myself, and it would have been right around the time that they had a typhoon. But I did write the paper, and I did a virtual presentation and Q&A on Skype, which was quite interesting. So I really wanted the opportunity to present this paper to the Moodle community, as the M in Meta eLearning is for Moodle. So Meta eLearning is a framework that's developed to explore e-learning experiences that are extended beyond the basics. And with Moodle as the foundation, and it's personalized by e-portfolios. It's guided by the structure, suggestions and activities of the tech variety model, and extended further with other applications that you might use on the web or on a mobile device. So why did I go with Moodle for this framework that I started writing about? I went with it because it's open source, and I believe that all education resources should be open. I'm a very strong believer and supporter in open education resources. And if you ever get the chance, do some courses with Wiki Educator. There's a New Zealand team that do some amazing things on that, and I would highly recommend that you do those. It opened my eyes to a lot of the open education resources. I chose Moodle because it is really flexible, really customizable. I think it's got enormous potential, which you can obviously see if you've been to any of Martin's keynotes ever. The potential is just mind-blowing, and I can't believe what he comes up with every time. And because the Moodle community is amazing to be a part of. Feel free to add comments into the chat as we go. When Martin used this slide once in one of his keynote presentations, I really loved this, as it really cemented in the philosophy that Moodle Core is the foundation and the platform for building a really comprehensive e-learning experience on top of that core foundation. And it can be really flexible, really customizable. And that's why I went with Moodle being the foundation for really good, solid e-learning experiences. Can people still hear me? Christine is not sure she's hearing me. Okay, great. Okay, so everyone knows so much about Moodle, that's why we're all here. And I love the philosophy, as I said, that Martin always shares with us about the social constructionism. And I think the opportunities that Moodle presents for collaboration and for student development of knowledge within that community, its potential beyond what most learning management systems and social networking environments provide. And that's why I'll always advocate for Moodle. Another reason why Moodle is a great platform for e-learning and for taking e-learning beyond the basic and extending e-learning experiences is because of all that you see here on this screen, which is the screen capture from the plugins directory. I love browsing the directory, and I have read every single one of them, which just gets me really excited about the opportunities. And I have gotten my IT manager at school to install quite a bit of it, so much so that I think we broke the quiz questions menu because we now have too many question types. But I'm constantly looking for ways to extend the e-learning experience offered to our students and to our staff as they learn how to use it and provide more enhanced e-learning experiences. And of course, in a secondary school environment, it's more of a blended learning experience, which I think is a really valuable way of experiencing e-learning. Sorry, the slides seem to be taking a while to change. In 2010, Joyce Seitzinger came out with this framework, for this guide for helping teachers choose the right Moodle resource or activity for the particular pedagogical purpose that they wanted to achieve with it. And it's done the rounds all over the world, and it's been translated into many different languages. And I still use it to this day and still come up with new and innovative ways of being able to use it. It has been updated for 2 and 2.2. I found many different versions. Whenever I go looking for it, I find new versions. And again, there's a lot in different languages as well. I've been working on developing interactive versions of it so that it's a sort of choose your own pathway, answer questions, and then it'll generate the correct response and take you to a quick guide and video for that particular resource or activity, just to really make this a practical tool rather than a static one-pager. So I'm constantly thinking of ways to make this different. And I think the color coding and different things on this, whilst it's not very accessible, it's a really practical tool for teachers. But unless they know how to use it, they possibly won't. When I was at Macquarie Uni, I customised it for Macquarie Uni and we added some to it. You can find it on their website, which is mq.edu.au/iLearn, and you'll find a lot of their resources are really, really helpful with Moodle. They have a very, very good selection of quick guides, videos, and FAQs, which you won't find that kind of collection of resources with many other institutes. Okay. When I worked at Macquarie Uni, we went through quite a process of deciding what activities we were going to give to give access to staff and what we'd include in our configuration. And these were the activities that we did give them. And this is Moodle 2.1 or 2, I think. But these were what we went with to begin with. And we kind of went through a process of talking about the 3 S's when we decided on what we were going to put into our configuration. So we went with the skin, which was the outside layer or the theme for Moodle. We went with the structure, which was the blocks and that next level of the look and the interface. And then we went with the stuff. So how are we going to work with materials like activities and resources? What would we provide them? Thanks for sharing that link for everyone, Gareth. Sorry if my audio is breaking up. I don't actually have a headset with me tonight, so I'm using just my inbuilt mic on the MacBook Pro. So when we were talking about different aspects of building Moodle at Macquarie Uni, we were looking at those 3 things: the skin, structure, and the stuff. And I think that was a really solid way to build the experience, and then let the academic staff extend on that as they learnt the different resources and activities and how they could be used and add onto the experience. As I've seen with most staff who use Moodle and have had a great deal of training or a great deal of time to play with Moodle, they tend to use it as a content management system and file dump. And I'm really annoyed when I see that most of the time, because I know the potential of Moodle and I work to try and help my colleagues at school understand the potential of Moodle for actual interactivity, collaboration, and extended activities online. Okay, slides are changing slow, sorry. The quizzes are, of course, one of the most popular activities in Moodle, and they do extend the learning experience, but sometimes quizzes are just one sort of way activities. So I think it's about taking it to the next step with them. And I think some of the great new quiz question types are really going to take quizzes to that next level, like the drag and drop and the markers and the marking images. I'm really testing out a lot of those, and I have been working with some of those, and I'll be doing a presentation on Sunday on quizzes and question types as well. So I'm always helping staff to try and extend their quizzes from just being multiple choice, which is everyone's favorite question type, but I'm constantly trying to get them to think about how else they might use the question types, both formally and informally, for assessment. Discussion forums, group wikis, and group selection activities are 3 other activities that I think are really great to get people using. And I was often advocating the use of discussion forums and group selection activities, particularly at Macquarie Uni. But wikis became a lot more popular as well. And the school I'm at the moment uses wikis extensively, Google Docs, sorry, extensively for collaborative document writing. And I think that there's certainly a place for Google Docs but our learning management within Moodle, there is potential for better use of the wikis for the same things that we're using Google Docs for. And when the current Moodle wiki is so much more advanced with the history, the files, and the sort of discussion tabs, I think that the wiki is a really great collaborative for learning. Another activity that I'm always recommending to colleagues is the database, because I love what the database can do and I love the potential of the database. And the slide that I'm showing at the moment is just an annotated bibliography database preset. But I recently got called into my principal's office at school, and she said, we want to have place where all staff can go to comment on the academic progress of every student in the school. And we have 1,000 girls at our school. So when she first said that, and my IT manager was with me, he said, oh, we could do something like we're doing for the support unit kids, which is use our WordPress blog and make comments like that. And I thought, no, we can use a Moodle database. And I thought that is the perfect way for us to create a data wall of all the students in our school with some of the key statistics on them, like their core classes, their homeroom, their ID, their email, their image. And because it's in the database and comments are allowed, it means that all staff can go in there and write comments on those students. And it's very easy to sort, to search, and export. So it took us probably 2 days to get it done. And I'll be showing that more in my database session on Saturday morning. But yeah, we've used the database to create a data wall for 1,000 students, and I'm really happy with how it's working. The wikis, I've already talked about how I get people to use those, but as you can see on the right-hand side too, I'm constantly looking for better ways to use blocks, but sometimes we have a lot of blocks with that stuff in it that we are using constantly. So I don't like to add too many blocks, otherwise you can create scroll of death with just blocks. And I don't like closing blocks too much because that defeats the purpose of having them there. Yeah, Mahara can do what I was just explaining we're doing with the database. And we do have Mahara. I will talk about that in a second. But basically, the staff at my school don't know Mahara very well yet. And it's actually a lot harder to get just the information we wanted to in on 1,000 kids in Mahara than to just have a quick, easy little database where they can go and make a comment. As many of you know, staff are really resistant to change, and moving my staff from 1.9 to 2.4 in the last few months has been a big enough change for them. So I haven't pushed Mahara with them yet, and I'm the main person implementing Mahara with all of Year 9 at the moment. So my staff aren't using Mahara yet, except for myself. Okay, so this image is Plain, and Plain used Moodle completely differently to what Macquarie Uni does. Plain used Moodle in ways that worked, but that at first I was really quite unsure about because it was against the way I'd normally use Moodle. And basically Plain just used lots of summary sections and labels and their own icon set, which you can see on the screen now. And they just used a lot of hyperlinks to either orphaned activities or to websites external to Plain. So it was different, and the share icon would often link to the Mahara group for this learning experience, or to a Mahara page, evidence page, which was automatically created. So it was a little different. Sorry, just have to drink a bit of water. Yeah, Plain did use a lot of media, but that was about as far as it went, extending beyond just the text and the links. This was the first time I'd seen the grid format used really well, was in Plain, and it really worked well for them. Okay, so Moodle was my M of meta e-learning. ePortfolios is my second. And I've been doing a lot of research on e-learning, instructional design, and different ways of teaching with technology. And I really think reflection is key to a good learning experience, and ePortfolios facilitate reflection really, really well. So that's the reason I chose E to be ePortfolios. Well, ePortfolios serve three purposes: assessment, showcase, and learning. But as I mentioned, reflection is a really key part of that. Sorry, Stephen, I hope the audio gets better. Okay, now this image is kind of interesting, and when I found it, I thought it was really, it was a good sort of parable. And it's basically the story is that the blind man and the elephant is a parable, it's a metaphor that talks about the confusion that we can have when it comes to ePortfolios. In various versions of the tale, a group of men, or men in the dark, touch an elephant to learn what it is like. And each one feels a different part, but only one part of the elephant, such as the side or the tusk. They then compare notes and learn that they are in complete disagreement. And I think this is similar to the experiences we have as different users and different learners with any content and course that we're involved in. We all experience it from a different angle and from a different experience. And reflecting on it, we learn different things from it. And I'm providing that opportunity for my students at school with the integration of Mahara with Moodle to reflect on their learning. I'm doing a session tomorrow afternoon on my school's Moodle, and I've moved to Moodle 2.4 and the integration of Mahara. So feel free to come and listen to that one as well, and I'll be talking a lot more about how schools going with Moodle and Mahara together. There's some really great slides that I found that really explain the purpose of ePortfolios. And with this image, whilst it's really busy and full, it's a great summary of how an ePortfolio might be integrated and used in e-learning, taking the experience of that e-learning and ePortfolios allow learners to collect digital artifacts to represent their e-learning experiences. So it's really high order when it gets to the creation stage. If it's just collecting, it's very low order because it's just gathering materials. But if they're showing evidence of their learning, and they're creating evidence of their learning to put in their portfolio. It's really cementing that new knowledge and skills. Very wild away. The portfolio can be carried on throughout different experiences, and it builds the new knowledge and background knowledge. And it's a very personal experience that can have great professional rewards. It couldn't actually off the iPad because my other internet connection was not African. Okay, I think my internet connection just kicked in again. Can you hear me better now? Sorry. Probably didn't hear. I'm hotspotting off my iPad because my other internet connection decided to run at about 3 kilobytes per second. So that wasn't very good. This image that you're seeing now is from Dr. Helen Barrett, and it's really around as far as e-portfolios go. And she really helps define the two really the primary ways that you can use e-portfolios. For reflection and showcase for accountability. And in school, I'm really trying to use it for both. At the moment, we're using it for learning and reflection, and getting them to set SMART goals at the start of every lesson that they have me for a subject called iPlan, where they do independent study and research and homework. Can anyone hear me? I'm going to keep going. I'll see you guys. Okay.
Hi, Kristina. This is Fred. I just wanted to.
Too small.
Want to just double check is the
Right,
audio?
look up the work of JISC.
Hi, Kristina, can you hear me?
Welcome. Enter the conference PIN number followed by the pound key. You are now muted.
Hi, Kristina, can you try talking?
Yeah.
Hi, Kristina, can you try talking?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Just let me mute the computer. Let me mute the computer. Okay. Cool. No echo now. Is there any echo now? The echo is a bonus. Great. Okay. Going old school phone. Okay. Let's see where I was up to because the slides got out of whack. This slide is actually a video, but it might not work because I saved it as a PDF to get it working. But basically what that video was, and if you go to the Plane Journey YouTube channel, it will have a video on how we used Mahara as Plane Journey's e-portfolio for evidencing learning for all of the professional development that staff are doing on Plane. And Plane is really, really innovative in that it's the only broadly endorsed, to provide credited professional development for all staff all teachers at both professional competence, professional accomplishment, and professional leadership levels. And the way that it's evidenced is through Mahara ePortfolio. So it's really quite an exciting initiative that Plain came out with and pioneered last year. And when I finished working with Plain to go start my job at a school, they had over 5,000 members from what I can recollect. So a lot of those were people who were doing it to get accredited hours of professional development. This is an example of some of the forums that we had within groups for each of the learning experiences that were created in Moodle. There was a group so that the teachers doing those professional learning experiences in Moodle could discuss it in the forums, and it was part of the learning that they did in those Moodle courses that they discussed it, evidenced their learning, shared pages and different things with the Mahara ePortfolio. Yeah, I'll put as much links and resources as I can up in my course room later. I haven't had the chance to do that all yet, but I will. This is an example of how many of the kinds of directions we gave through the Moodle activities to Mahara, the ePortfolio in Plain. So share your experiences building your personal learning network and go to the group forum. So the group forum was in Mahara. Resources on your evidence page, which was a page in the Mahara portfolio. Reflections in the journal. That was all built in, and it worked so seamlessly that you really didn't know it was two systems. And that's my aim with the way that I'm implementing it at my school at the moment too. Okay, we're up to the T. So Tech Variety Model is something developed by Dr. Curtis Bonk of Indiana University in America. And I did Curtis Bonk's MOOC on instructional design, I think it was 2011 or maybe it was 2012. But it was a really incredible experience. It was my first MOOC, but Dr. Bonk just has the most amazing charisma and way of presenting, and it doesn't work for everyone because he is quite fast when he presents, but I got a lot out of the experience and out of his Tech Variety Model and R2D2 model. So this is what I decided I would use as a sort of guiding framework for picking and choosing the resources and activities and general things that I would include in Moodle and Mahara when setting up an extended e-learning experience. So the Tech Variety Framework purposely takes into account current trends and different things that motivate and engage students based on research. And I will find the link for the book because Dr. Bonk has actually written a book based on this framework and lists like 100 activities for it, and he has made the book open, Creative Commons, I think. So it'll be a great resource to share, and I'll find the link for that. The Tech Variety Model and applications, which are the last two T and A of my Meta e-learning framework, they go together. I think Moodle is a great platform for integrating other online tools, and certainly being HTML5, there's a lot of new web tools coming out that are HTML5. Thanks for sharing that, Greg. One of my marketing manager at school today was sharing with me a site where you can go to get access to lots of HTML5 apps, online apps that we will be trying to integrate more with our use of Moodle, just so that it works really well when we go one-to-one with iPads in Year 7, 8 and 9 next year. And whilst I love apps, I really want my staff to still rely a lot on Moodle as a platform, even using iPads as the device. So I might have to write another framework level for that. But yeah, basically Web 2 and Tech Variety are going to go together. applications. So the text variety model stands for tone or climate. So creating a safe, comfortable learning experience and environment. I'll have to talk to you more about the bootstrapped-based themes, Gareth, because we are definitely keen to make sure that everything works perfectly on the iPads. The E is for encouragement and creating that next level of the tone of climate, taking it to the level of, I guess, providing constant feedback and responses for students. And Moodle does that brilliantly. And it's one of the best features about Moodle is being able to give timely feedback, automated feedback. Curiosity, you can build so much fun into Moodle with the different activities, but then again, taking the applications and Web 2 applications online and using them to create a bit of curiosity and fun and even gamification. I love the badges, and I'm totally going to be putting that into my Moodle at school ASAP. Variety is just bringing in the variety, the novelty, the intrigue, the unknowns, the surprises. And I think you can do that by just using a different tool for something that you would normally do in a really predictable way, but just perhaps doing it with a completely different tool, but getting the same sort of experience and results. Autonomy. I believe in giving students choice and flexibility in the opportunities. And when I'm implementing iPads one-to-one with school next year, I'll be advocating for telling students that they need to use a type of app, but not a particular app. So giving them choice in picking an app that does something like creates a presentation. And I think that we can do that same thing when we use web applications and get them to create a resource, create an assessment task, create a product, and submit it to us in Moodle. I think that giving them the choice of what web application they use is it's really important. It gives them that ownership and the flexibility. Can you still hear me, Carol? Holding the phone right up to my mouth. It's kind of like a microphone right at the moment. Okay, great. R is for relevance, so making it really meaningful. And that just brings back to mind the quality teaching model and everything it talks about. Making the experience interactive and collaborative, team-based and community. And that's what Moodle's all about. But so are so many online Web 2 tools, and we are so beyond Web 2 at the moment. We're probably Web 4. But using different web applications to develop interactivity, social networking, media, I think that's really important, and it just needs to be done in the right way. Engagement, we're always searching for that ultimate way to engage our students, whether they be primary, secondary or tertiary, but I think it's just about doing something that's going to motivate them, and then it'll engage them. And I don't think there's any one secret formula for that. But it is about involving them and exciting them somehow. I think it's about knowing them and engaging them in something that they love. Tension. This is a good one. I like the fact that this was included. Create a challenge or a dissonance or controversy. And I think the best way to do this is post something really controversial or thought-provoking as a stimulus video or a stimulus question in the discussion forum in Moodle and get them really talking about it, or in your group in Mahara if you're doing it that way. Getting them to be really open and opinionated is quite easy online, whereas it's not so easy in class and it can get quite out of control. I'm just thinking of my E9 class, and I don't think I'd be doing that with them. The yield is the last one, and it's talking about the outcomes, the products, the success, the goal-driven aims of what you're doing with all of the tools. And we are at our school driving driven by outcomes, and we're explicitly trying to model those students, to share those with students as well. Okay, so these are some of the suggestions I have for creating these tech variety aspects in using applications. Okay, so I think personal experience, personal touch of an alternate introduction, like a video introduction or a Wiki, is a great way to create tone and climate. And you can embed Wikis and introductory videos in a block or in the summary area of a Moodle course, and even within a page in Mahara. It's about creating an online presence, which is so key. Even if it's online, it needs to be there. Your presence needs to be there. Icebreaker discussions. Ask them, if you were an animal, what animal would you be and why? I've done that with academic staff, and boy, that was fun. And it was surprising what some of them said. So it got academic staff talking like they hadn't talked before. Give students roles in creating content. Give them that ownership and the responsibility, and give them a chance to show their skills. And avatars. Avatars, we often make them to try and express ourselves in some way, whether it's expressing how we really want to look or whether it's expressing something we're really interested in. The one you can see on the screen is the avatar that was made for me when I worked at plane, so hence the look of the flight attendant. I'll skip through these slides pretty quick since we're running out of time. But here's some ways that you can encourage them. Providing feedback on their learning experiences, and we did that through through writing comments in plain on their learning experience pages that were created in Mahara, so the portfolio pages. These portfolio pages really showcased what their learning had been about and what they produced as a result of that learning. Providing feedback on that kind of showcase of their knowledge is so important because they need to feel like it was worth it and that we recognise their effort. You're very right, Christine. It's important. Relationships are so important, even in the online community. Curiosity. You can have some real fun with this. Stimulus resources, online games, virtual worlds, and badges. How many of you have been so curious by this new implementation into Moodle of badges and what it could do and how it works? Something like that can really get students talking. And my students have been so curious about the potential of Mahara. And of course, the first thing they discovered was that, oh wow, we can make friends. But they've been so curious that I have seen some use it within their recess and lunch times, which to me as a teacher implementing the program gets me very excited. Variety. Curate resources. Provide them with a different option for gathering their information. Don't send them to Google all the time, but get them to curate their own information in different ways and to find information in different ways. I like the suggestion that Dr. Bonk makes in his book of being the cool resource provider and giving a student each week the opportunity to be the one that shows off a resource and picks the resource that's going to be shared for that week's topic. Autonomy, choice as to how they present their creation, and choice as to how they access their new knowledge. These screenshots for the applications, by the way, came from Go to Web2, which is a brilliant site for showing off lots of Web2 applications. And whilst we have moved on from Web2, there's still some very relevant applications in there. Relevance. What are current trends on Twitter? What is it in context? And get a simulated experience. make it real life. And at our school, we're very project-based learning heavy, and it's all about making it real-world relevant. And so I think finding simulations and finding ways to be immersed in the real-world relevance is so important. Interactive applications, collaborative stuff, social bookmarking. I've introduced colleagues and students to Diigo, and a lot of them have really been happy with it, what it does, and I would never stop using Diigo. It's an amazing tool. But using those kinds of things in conjunction with Moodle and Mahara can really take it to that next level. And had a colleague today say, well, why would I use new things when I'm used to using everything else? And she may be comfortable using what she's currently using, but, you know, sometimes it is good to try new things, because if you don't try, you're not going to know what you're missing, and you might actually be missing something that does it better for you in a less time-consuming way, and with better results. That's my thoughts. But yeah, I use Diigo prolifically. I spend hours researching different topics, so I have over 2,000 bookmarks easily. If you want to look up mine, I'm just Kristina17 on Diigo. Engagement, building community, getting students involved with each other, and that's so easy to do on Mahara. Tension, opinions of others. Go and look at some blogs, because people express their opinions on blogs. Point them towards some very controversial blog posts. Twitter feeds, they can be controversial, and stimulus videos. Give them something to talk about. And yields. Produce something with new knowledge. Be creative with new knowledge. Present your own application of the knowledge. Doing something with what you've learnt is that final step of cementing in the new knowledge and skills. And it's very much doing what I'm going to be doing with the iPad program as well. That's funny. Now the educators have moved to Facebook, students quit. Interesting. We're going to be moving our school to using Facebook a little bit more soon, so that'll be, interesting to see what happens. Okay, so basically I just want to conclude with a few points. Things like the tech variety model, it's about making intentional choices about how we use the technology and how we use the big technology platforms like Moodle and Mahara, because they're a real basis and foundation for building even more experiences. Be creative and push the boundaries. Go outside the box. Don't settle for core, but test out what you can use things for. And I'm constantly trying to use things in an unconventional way, time permitting. Make learning experiences, even the online learning experiences, personal for students, and help them to take more away from those experiences than just an assessment grade or mark. It's about developing lifelong skills and a passion for continued learning, which I'm going to talk more about in my presentation tomorrow on Moodle and Mahara. Be clear on your purpose for implementing something and why and how. Engage your students and motivate them by making it fun. I've had teachers tell me when I was a student that school's not supposed to be fun, probably in a very sarcastic way, but it should be fun to learn. Be willing to explore what is available on the web, what applications could extend the e-learning experience that you design. Be willing to try new things out and fail, because sometimes you learn from that. and there's just some of the resources I've used. But I will make all of this available in my course room. Yeah, I like that, Gareth. Pick the right Lego bricks and let your students create with them. I love Lego, so I would totally, yeah, I'm totally on board with that metaphor. Happy to take questions now and comments. But I've got 3 more presentations during the iMoot. So this has really only just started the outline of my 3 others.
Hi, this is Vinny again from the iMoot team. Thank you very much, Kristina. Thank you very much, everybody else, for bearing with us with the sound issues. Oh, there's a couple of questions there, Kristina, so I'll pass it back over to you just to pick those up, and then I'll say a final thank you in a few minutes.
Okay. Yeah, the Wiki course slide, I won't try and go back to it because it seems to be lagging. Yeah, we did do a customized collapse topic format when Macquarie Uni first brought it out. It was quite customized. But the way it is now in 2.4, it's very easy to customize it yourself. I tend to use a lot of horizontal lines with styling as well sometimes to just customize it even further. Mahara and primary schools. Yeah, Greg, I'm not sure. Not being a primary school teacher myself, I wouldn't be able to say yes or no as to how it would go, but I think primary school kids these days are a lot more ahead than they used to be, especially when I was back in primary school. So, yeah, I think that it's important that you probably teach them about their digital footprint and digital citizenship in that safe environment of Mahara before they get into the big wide world of high school and Facebook and all the disasters that can happen with that. So, yeah, I would actually say it's probably a good idea to implement Mahara in primary schools so that they can learn the value of digital citizenship and being part of a good online community. Have you tried to give a Moodle course to a group of students with tutor rights for them to build their own content? I haven't done it with students. I've done it with academics who are students in Moodle training, for example, and that's worked really well. But yeah, I'm very keen to do it with students. I might test that one out with some of my Year 9 classes. I'm starting a group of power users of iPads at school as well, so for training other students in use of iPads. So I might actually get that going with students using Moodle, and they can be power users that train my staff. So that's a good idea. Gareth, clarify the comment about PMing you with those ideas. You might have been talking to someone else. I'm not sure about using Google Sites for ePortfolio, Stephen, but yeah, definitely primary using Mahara I think is a good idea. But yeah, it definitely brings autonomy into it. Yeah, we're doing the student ICT heroes for the iPads, as I said, but I'm thinking I'll do them for Mahara and Moodle as well. We're going to be setting up the Genius bars in the library because I'm the school librarian as well as the IT leader. And so I'll be helping facilitate the Genius bars in lunchtime with Apple TVs and iPads and students, training students and staff in it. Oh, yeah. Gareth, big fan of collapse topics. They're the best thing to come out of course formats.
Any more questions?
Okay, I think
Yep.
I think that looks about it, Kristina.
Yep.
Thank you very much for participating, for presenting. Sorry, I know how much hard work it is to prepare for something like this, and it's very much appreciated by the iMoot Moodle community. So thank you ever so much, and enjoy the rest of your iMoot.
Thank you very much, guys.